Okay, my name's Michael Gleeson. I'm an educational designer for Arts Educational Law, and today we're just doing a bit of multiple choice questions 101, I guess. We're looking at how you create a good multiple choice question. You've probably done this before. You'll do a lot of it automatically without thinking about it, but I'm just going to give some advice about how you can make sure your questions are valid and reliable. So what we've got here is we've got a STEM, which is the question, the form of the question, and alternatives, which are the answers. So in this situation, A is the answer and the other 5 form distractors. So how do we construct an effective STEM? Okay, STEM's our question, as we said before. The STEM's got to be meaningful by itself, present a definite problem. So what is the student going to be answer? If you're not presenting a clear problem, like it can lead to students just drawing inferences, which is not what you want. You want a clear problem, you want to test a clear piece of knowledge. The STEM shouldn't contain irrelevant material. So if you look at this example, they're giving too much backstory, I guess, whereas the question is probably the final sentence in there, and that's what you're testing with the student. So the rest of the material, students will have to hold in working memory and can distract them from taking the test. The STEM should be negatively stated only when significant learning outcomes require it. So what this means is avoid questions phrased negatively. It adds extra cognitive load to the student. You can do them positively if you can do that. However, there will be situations where you do need to have a negative question in STEM. You could be dealing with a question about classroom safety. Which one of these should you never do, or which one of these should you not do? That would be a correct use of it, but you only should use that when the question calls for it. The STEM should be a question or a partial sentence. So basically, this goes down to working memory again. You don't want to put too much information in the STEM, and ideally it's going to be a question, but a partial sentence will work out. And that's the interior blank as we see up here. All alternatives should be plausible. Now this is key, and the rest of the advice I'll be giving you relates back to this. Basically, if you're putting a distractor in that's obviously wrong, it serves no function within the question, so there's no real point putting it in. It doesn't help the validity of the question. You might as well not have that distractor in there at all. In this situation, it's who helped reveal the structure of DNA. We've got Crick, Watson and Franklin, which is the correct answer, but the incorrect ones were George Washington and Snoopy. So from inference, you could work out, oh, it's not going to be Snoopy or George Washington. You've got the correct answer, even if you didn't have that information. Alternatives should be stated clearly and concisely, and this is the flip side of having a clear and concise STEM. Basically, you don't want a question which needs the students to hold, in this case, 3 paragraphs worth of material in their head. You should do it so only the information that is needed is covered in there, and this could be a legal case in law, for example. Alternatives should be homogeneous in content. Basically, that means the distractors should all be slight distractors, not off-the-wall distractors. If you look in this example, we're talking about phospholipids in 3 of the answers and cholesterol in another one of the answers. Now, I can infer by looking at that without any knowledge of science that cholesterol is probably not going to be the correct answer. Okay, alternatives should be alternatives should be free from clues about which response is correct. How this can happen is you can have answers that are different in form, different in length. So to avoid this, make sure the answers are consistent with the grammar of the STEM. Make sure they're parallel in form and structure, similar in length, and use similar language. Otherwise, a student may be able to infer the correct answer rather than proving that they have the knowledge that we're looking at assessing. The alternatives, all of the above and none of the above, are similar to this. Basically, okay, if you've got 6 questions, if you realise that 2 of them are correct and one of the options is all of the above down the bottom, you can infer that the rest are correct. If there's 2 options that are incorrect at the top and you've got a choice of none of the above, you can infer that the rest are also incorrect. Basically getting a point where you shouldn't, because you've inferred the answer rather than brought the answer from your own knowledge. Okay, alternatives should be presented in the logical order, alphabetical order. Basically, what we're doing here is we're not creating a hierarchy of something that's more likely to be the correct answer. So we've used alphabetical order in the second example here. In the first example, we've just used the structure of the question. So you've got the molecule plus O2 goes to CO2 plus H2O. So our answers are listed in that way. A, fructose, B, CO2, etc., etc. Number of alternatives can vary as long as all the items are plausible. And as we said before, if they're not plausible, it's not worth having them in there. So yeah, there's not a lot of difference in difficulty discrimination and test score reliability amongst items that might have just 2 distractors, 3 distractors or 4 distractors. So that's interesting to know. As long as they are good distractors, you should have a reliable quiz. So thank you very much.